Thanks, President Delbert. Standard Times Nigel, Rotarians, and guests. I would like to introduce the club's guest today, Jeris Gaston. Her bio reads, she's a partner with Bridgeworth Wealth Management, a boutique financial planning and wealth management firm in Birmingham, Alabama in the US. She graduated from Birmingham Southern College with a Bachelor of Arts in History and a distinction in Leadership Studies. She then obtained a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship to Dublin, Ireland, where she became a member of the Dublin Central Rotary Club and obtained a master's degree in philosophy with a distinction in women's studies from Trinity College at the University of Dublin. She returned home and became a member of the newly formed Rotary Club of Birmingham and remained a member there for the next 9 years. Over that time, she served as Vice President of Recruitment, President and Chair of the Board of the club and their foundation. Her primary focus during the time in her club leadership was forming more inroads for Rotaractors into Rotary. During this time, the club established a formal Rotary Transition Committee, started relationships with all 13 clubs in the city, and created a long-standing mentorship program with their charter club. For her service to Rotaract, Jeris was made a Paul Harris Fellow by the club. Now, as a member of the Rotary Club of Birmingham, she most recently served as Vice President of New Generations, still working to create opportunities for Rotaractors to become Rotarians. She also serves on the District 6860 Membership Committee and is Vice Chair of Rotary International Membership Committee, working in both capacities to help grow Rotary. She has led and participated in breakout sessions at both Rotaract, pre-conventions, and Rotary conventions in Sao Paulo, Seoul, Atlanta, Toronto, and Hamburg, and she was a general session presenter at the 2020 International Assembly. At Bridgeworth Financial, she's a certified financial planner, focusing in the areas of wealth management, personal financial planning, and retirement income strategies for individuals and families. She's married to Jordan Gaston and has twin 8-year-old boys, Graham and Hayes. When she isn't on the soccer field with the twins or at a Rotary meeting, you can find her trying out all the delicious culinary treats that Birmingham, Alabama has to offer. Let us give a very Rotary Club of Dominica welcome to Jeris while she's our guest speaker today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for reading that long bio. You didn't have to do that. But thank you, President Delbert, and thank you to the club for having me speak today as a part of Rotary's month focused on membership. And I actually missed my own club meeting today because work got crazy. So you guys are my club meeting today as well. So thank you for having me. And Darren sent me some information about your club and your Rotaract Club and your Interact Club. And let me just say I'm very impressed. You are an amazing group, and my only wish is that I could be there in person to learn more about your club, but maybe one day soon that can happen for sure. So I'm going to share with you quickly today my story and then talk about growing clubs and engaging our members. So I am here because 20 years ago, a group of Rotarians invested in me. My parents weren't Rotarians, but I had been to some Interact meetings in high school, and I knew that the sponsoring Rotary Club gave an annual scholarship to graduating seniors. So I applied for and luckily received that scholarship and to attend college. And that gift is what started my Rotary journey. So I like to say that Rotary took a chance on me, really. And a few years later, when it came time for graduate school, as Darren mentioned, I remembered that support that Rotary had given me. It was important. And so I applied for and received the Rotary, what was then called the Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship. Now it would be the Rotary Peace Studies to Dublin, Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. So, and the Rotary Club in Dublin took me under their wing that year. It was an incredible experience. But there I was at 22, and I felt like I already knew the secret. that Rotary invests in people. So again, I truly believe that Rotary took a chance on me, but I bought into Rotary early because of those investments. But why would someone who's maybe never heard of us join our organization? How do we engage members or potential members who didn't get such an early or positive start like I did, and hopefully many of you did? So how do we connect with those members, and how do we shape their Rotary experience to create lifelong and dedicated members? So what I'm going to suggest today is that we do that through deepening our members and potential members' understanding of our value proposition, and through strategic leadership and personal development. Because Rotary is, as you all know, truly in a unique position. We have this network of people all over the world, enormous network, and we have the means to connect those people to do good. And people want to feel connected. They want to belong. So let's open our arms. Let's give them a place to belong, but let's make sure they also understand that there's more to Rotary. You can serve, you can improve your community. I mean, you could improve the world, but you can also improve yourself. And when I say that, it's not self-serving. It's a value add. I think, and this is Jeris, I think it's not enough to say we are people of action. We need to also say we develop people of action. So, sounds great. What are ways to do this? So I want to talk a little bit about engaging and supporting our members, your members, while also attracting new members to your club. So I want to talk about several practical strategies today and get you thinking about what may work for your club. And I know you have a Rotaract club as well, so there'll be a lot of good information on Rotaract as well. That's near and dear to my heart. The first area I'll mention is one that, after a quick Google search and some helpful links from Darren, I already know you guys do very well, and that's leveraging technology. I mean, technology is what allows for that actual connection when we can't see each other right now, and it's a necessity to attract new members. So I very much commend you on your web presence and your social media presence. It's incredible. The only thing I would add to that is you maybe consider using Slack or Teams or WhatsApp or GroupMe or any kind of group communication tool when you are working within your club's leadership or your district, just to take that communication out of email and make it more personal and more efficient. And you may already do that, but that's my suggestion. Another strategy is to leverage your relationship with your Rotaract club. As Darren mentioned, after I got back from my scholarship year, I joined the newly formed Rotaract Club of Birmingham and spent 9 years as a member and took on many leadership positions, ultimately serving as president. But our Rotaract Club, I have to be honest with you, is a little unique. It has 300 members. It's one of the largest community-based clubs in the world. I could probably give you a whole separate talk on that club alone, and it really runs a lot like a Rotary club, to be honest. But the point I want to make sure I get across is that you do not need a massive club to make Rotary more engaging for both Rotaractors and Rotarians. And honestly, my district is a good example. For instance, they appoint Rotaract members to district committees. They involve them to help plan fundraisers. They invite Rotaractors to speak at district meetings, for example. So really giving Rotaractors a seat at the table, I truly believe, is so important. My club, the Rotary Club of Birmingham, has engaged Rotaract, in a way that gives both Rotary and Rotaract club members a chance to learn from one another. And a few quick examples of that. We've had Rotaract members teach tech workshops after club meetings. And these classes could range from how to connect with your own club on social media to what to do with all the pictures on your phone. And frankly, these are very popular sessions. Our Rotarians love them. And we've also created what we call a Rotary Roundtable, where each quarter 2 Rotarians speak to a group of Rotaractors on a topic specific to their profession. Maybe it's real estate, maybe it's banking. We call it a social with a purpose, because the purpose is to build connections. And finally, we offer a mentorship program for both Rotary and Rotaract club members we call Professional Partners. And I will tell you, this is by far the most popular, because the Rotarians in my club will be the first to admit that they gain as much, if not more, from this program than their Rotaract counterparts. Because when you give your time and talents, there are incredible and tangible personal rewards that follow. And this is a great way for club members, your Rotary club members, to bring their individual strengths to the club and give back. So this Professional Partners program, we call it a mentorship program. It is a mentorship program, but we call it a partnership because it's mutually beneficial. The partners are truly viewed as equals and spend time learning from each other and ultimately just tightening the bonds between those 2 people and the 2 clubs, which is so important. So unique programming like these examples that I've given, these are key strategies for a club to grow. These programs do more than just engage members. They truly build connections through the engagement, and that's what takes it to the next level, building those connections. It allows for younger members to connect with a different generation and makes Rotary a more inclusive space within your district. And I truly believe that we're going to have a more difficult time transitioning Rotaractors to Rotarians unless we can allow for and foster more of these connections. So I'll get off my Rotaract soapbox, but within your club, you also have to have strong membership committees and a strong membership committee, and clearly make sure members know what your membership goals are and have a clear process. I went to your website and I saw that you do have a clear process. Step 1 through 4, introduce members, invite them to the club. Identify them, invite them, engage them, and through the club activities. And I can't highlight enough how important that new member orientation piece of it is. Rotarians who leave our organization, they often do so after that first year. And so it's really important to engage members well right from the start. And it's that process that's so important. So if you have a process, the goal is much easier to achieve. I've heard many clubs say they want new members. They say it's a priority, but they don't have the infrastructure in place to do so. And I realize that you may say, Jeris, this is easier said than done right now when we're all meeting virtually. But, we as Rotarians are very willing to adapt, and we're doing so now. And I would argue that it's almost even easier now to introduce someone to Rotary via Zoom, because they don't have to leave their office or their home to attend a meeting. We've made it easy. But when we can get out and do more and engage through service, I would consider inviting a friend and colleague, not to just a meeting, but to a service event or conference or even a convention, to help them understand what Rotary is really all about. I will share one recruitment tool that I got from a Rotaract club. I can't remember which one at this moment. It's evading me, but I feel like it could be used for Rotaract or for Rotary, which I thought was really cool. And whenever I hear a cool nugget of knowledge, I like to share it. But this club goes around and asks local business men and women and corporations to send their best and brightest young professional to their Rotaract club. They explain to the business leaders that Rotaract is a value add, and that to their young professionals' career tracks. And this club even put together a handout to show the business leader all the service and leadership opportunities in the club. And in doing so, they said brought in new members every year. And honestly, what was so neat about that story was that those companies, those business leaders, even paid for the Rotaract members to join. They saw such a value add. So to me, that's a win-win for all involved. And so whenever I hear a cool nugget of knowledge like that, I like to pass it on. But certainly when your club takes on new members, I always say have fun, celebrate membership wins. You know, if you have club and district goals and you prioritize them and work to achieve it, then celebrate the membership victories along the way. And this will help invigorate your club and to continue that goal and until it's achieved. So sometimes, even if you have a great orientation process, people they might just not take initiative. And, excuse me, often it's because they just aren't ready. So what we found is members just sometimes self-select out of participation for whatever reason. So one question I would pose is, how do we better prepare our members to step up and take their own engagement to the next level? And as an organization, over the past few years, you have heard the term Grow Rotary a lot. We as an organization know we need to start new clubs and grow those clubs, but we also need to engage our current members so they stay members and that they can continue to remember why they joined Rotary in the first place. This is a big issue we're having worldwide. And so I want to share with you, again, another way to provide value to also impact community and engage members at the same time. And because I'm a numbers person, deal in financial planning on a daily basis, I do want to share with you a quote from a Harvard Review article cited on the Rotary website under Engaging Young Professionals. And that quote is 61%, I'm going to read this, 61% of millennials who are now aged 18 to 35 and 57% of Gen Xers aged 36 to 54 say becoming a leader is important. So leadership development is a strategy that I want to talk a little bit about to have you think about. We all know that Rotary can provide leadership development for its members. If you're in leadership in this organization, you've experienced that. But for those looking at our organization, or for current members who are not engaged fully, we need to go to them with something that they understand, they desire, and that they value. And that is the experience of leadership and personal development. And professionals, especially young professionals, are hungry for leadership training. And the bottom line is that leadership training is often sparse. Many companies and organizations, they don't allow for formal, or they don't have formal leadership training, at least not in Birmingham, Alabama. So Rotaract and Rotary could fill this void, and in doing so, truly become a catalyst for membership growth, in my opinion. So, you know, what better way to continue to promote the importance of Rotaract and young professionals in our organization, coupled with growing Rotary, than by investing in this group with a very detailed, implementable leadership development type program that will really train the next generation of leaders into Rotary. And I just do want to give you a quick example, because my Rotary Club and Rotaract Club did this in a sense, and I'm using this as an example because I've seen it work. And we found a solution, and so I'm going to pitch it to you, just see what you think, because it works really well. And it's called a leadership development program, and it's a 9-month curriculum that runs each Rotary year, and about 10 Rotaractors participate. And they're learning group dynamics and personal leadership style, and they're being mentored by the Rotarians through the partnership, professional partners program I mentioned. And this program not only breeds this leadership development, but with about 25% of our Rotaractors in the district becoming Rotarians, we're seeing it actually working. It's bridging the gap between these two membership types. And that's not the only answer. It's just one example of how we can leverage our strengths as an organization to engage our members and develop and deliver value on a deeper, more personal level. And it's a method of service, truly. It's a way for Rotarians to once again bring their individual strengths to the table and share those with others to give back. And then one way that Rotary is taking action in this area actually is our new alliance with Toastmasters. And I'm going to put on my Rotary membership committee hat here for a second, because that tool is really going to be a tangible way for our members to develop leadership and speaking skills and to further develop our members as people of action. And those trainings are coming out now. So if you haven't seen them, I would certainly check them out. But before I end today, I do want to highlight a few areas that your former District Governor, David Edwards, and myself are working on through our work with the RI Membership Committee to continue the work to support clubs like yours and drive membership in our organization. So one that I'm very excited about is a pilot program that's happening right now, going on as we speak, that's testing the impact of helping clubs become more brand compliant. And I say more brand compliant. Some clubs aren't as good as yours, and they're not brand compliant at all. So making sure clubs are brand compliant all in one district to help prepare them to attract new members and keep existing members. So this is followed, once they're doing this pilot, they're going to have a coordinated marketing campaign in this location to see what happens if those two things align to attract new members to the organization. So when they have the results and the learnings from this, they're going to create a toolkit on the website where other districts and clubs can replicate it and make sure that they are aligning their membership and marketing efforts that they are effective. So I think this is going to be really effective for clubs and districts to put together that replicable process that I mentioned to help truly grow Rotary. We are also updating the Club Planning Assistant, which is an online resource available at rotary.org/membership. And it helps clubs self-assess their greatest challenges and receive instant and customized resources to help them address their needs. So you can, I believe, see that now. And like I mentioned, you guys do a really good job in your public image and social media and branding, but it might be something worth checking out. Also, many members may not be aware that on the Rotary website, there's a robust learning center. And this is where you can further develop skills and those nuggets of knowledge that I mentioned. And that's where you'll find those co-branded courses with Toastmasters, as I mentioned earlier. So I would highly suggest you check this out, because I believe that helping Rotarians build their leadership and professional skills, like I mentioned, is crucial to our organization's value add. And online learning materials is a fantastic tool for both Rotary and Rotaract. And finally, on Rotary.org, I know I'm pushing Rotary.org a lot, you can find that Young Professionals Toolkit. So for Rotaractors on the call, and I know you guys work closely with your Rotaract Club, to help those young professionals engage with Rotary and continue to elevate Rotary. And there's a lot of really good stuff that's being added. And since there is an Elevate Rotaract Task Force on the RI level now, there's even more stuff being added all the time. And they're really getting good feedback from Rotaractors all over the world to develop that. So, so I'll wrap up my remarks and open up for any questions you guys may have. But let me just finish with a challenge to you guys, and that is for the Rotary Club of Dominica to reimagine your own idea of service and volunteerism, to not only give your time and talents to those in the community that need you and depend on you and the work you do, but also continue to shift your perspective to keep working to develop people of action within your own club. Because if we put this type of time and energy into professionals in our clubs all around the world, they will see it as an investment in them, just like I did. And they will acknowledge that Rotary is an organization that not just embraces professionals, especially young professionals, but truly sees them as the next generation of global leaders. And I bet you'll see that they continue to pay that forward by staying engaged in Rotary and by being leaders in their communities to do even more good in this world. So Rotarians of the Rotary Club of Dominica, take a chance on your members. Thank you for having me speak today. Appreciate it.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Jeris. That was a ton load of information.
Maybe too much, huh?
packed into half an hour, and I am really appreciative of the information that you were just able to share with us. I'm going to shut up and give Rotarians a chance to ask you some questions, run some suggestions by you. I know Grayson probably has a few, Darren I'm sure has. So I'm stepping out of the way. Do you guys have any questions for our guest speaker this afternoon?
I don't have a question more than a discussion point. I know Rotary is changing, and some of the things that I encourage is that our clubs reflect our societies. So how does that help us, the current members, recruit members that we know will stay and embrace, you know, the fact that you don't have to be a business person per se anymore to join. You can come and bring whatever skills you have. For example, I took some notes and you were talking about having the Rotaractors give us tech talks. I think we did that already. You know, where some of the younger Rotaractors, I mean, a few years ago, they came and, you know, they were sharing their technology skills with us. And we have a WhatsApp group, so that has introduced a lot of our members to technology in terms of keeping up with messages. But I want us to be able to, as members, I don't want to use the word ashamed, but recruit members that we know will make a difference, that reflects what the club needs, but also reflects the society that we live in. We have a lot of teachers on here right now, and if it wasn't for some of our teachers, our Interact Club would definitely need attention, but we can depend on former Rotaractors and Rotarians, you know, to basically instill in those people, be a link with our club and the Interact Club. So thing. But we can do better, but I know for sure we have a former Rotaractor and a Rotarian at that school that can help us keep that Interact Club going. And we're hoping to form some more Interact Clubs as well. But I want
former Rotaractors, actually.
say that again?
2 former Rotaractors at the school.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just want Rotarians to know that, you know, as Rotary shifts, we have to shift and adjust. And then, you know, keep in mind that the membership has to reflect the society that we live in. So that's just one of my takeaways from it.
The only comment I have to make, well, it's a lot of information, it's very pertinent. Thank you for sharing with us. It's quite eye-opening. I'm just boggled as to how that club operates with over 300 members. And I'm wondering if the Rotary Club had over 300, how many did the Rotary Club have?
That's a great question. I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that the Rotary Club has about 600 members. Yeah.
Is it one club in the whole state?
No, our city has about 12 Rotary clubs. Now, some of them, and this is in about a 20-mile radius. So you've got a lot of clubs that are just probably between 20 and 50 members. My club is actually sprung off a sunrise club. It's looking to spring off a sunset club. So you've got some clubs that have been created and from other clubs as well. But a lot of this is very unique to our city. We're a very philanthropic city, so we also have the largest Kiwanis club in the world. It's Civitan is headquartered, International is headquartered here in Birmingham. So it's a very philanthropic city, and that helps as well. And when our Rotaract Club was started by my club, you know, you had a lot of interest from business leaders saying, we want our young professionals involved in Rotary. And they were the ones, it was the Rotarians who went and said, each of you bring on the rising star at your organization and have them, pay for them to be in this club. So it was a joint effort, and that was 15 years ago. And the club has grown pretty quickly and maintained that membership over the past, I'd say, 10 years. It was a quick start, but Rotarians are who helped that start. So that's really was what got the jump of being so large. And to how it's run, it is run like a small business. It is pretty incredible. and truly incredible leadership training on in real time. But and that's why it's so important to, once you get that leadership training ball rolling, you can do some pretty cool things. So that's why I just love that idea of leadership development for any size club.
Jeris, I have an interesting question. Well, I think it's interesting because the problem or the challenge that I see happening, one, I don't have so much interaction now with a lot of overseas or international clubs, but how do you propose to address the situation that's happening now? COVID-19 has changed everything, particularly with how people interact. So the majority of our meetings so far since COVID, we've only been able to have one face-to-face meeting, and that was last week. But even while you have meetings on Zoom and you have different types of interaction now, while people are present, your membership is present, while we have, like today, we had 30 people on this call, all right? While you have more people showing up, I've found that the participation has dwindled. Like, people are not so quick to ask a question live or while they're on Zoom. But a year ago or 6 months ago, when we were face to face, that was not the case. How do you suggest, from a membership standpoint, or even from a grow leadership standpoint, that we address that presence but lack of participation, if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy answer. You know, other than just calling people out, which you don't want to do. I do think that you have to get even more creative than you thought at first when this all started. So some ideas that I've seen other clubs do just from speaking to some clubs. One club was not involved in much international service, and they decided now was the time to do it. And that really engaged their members because they started, they chose a project and started taking virtual site visits. They obviously just took a connection, but whereas if that club had done that project in non-COVID times, they could have sent maybe 1 or 5 members to the location, depending on where it was, just because it was cost prohibitive. But now the whole club can participate in a virtual site visit for that project. And that's, from what they told me, that was really engaging, and that kind of helped bring people to the meeting, and also just offering, you know, unique programming in terms of speakers. But also, I mean, our Rotary Club does like a trivia night once a week over Zoom. I still haven't figured out how they do it, honestly, but they somehow managed to figure it out. And so that has helped engage members. There's also Rotary fellowships that I find that a lot of clubs don't get much involved in. Some do. And there's some pretty cool Rotary fellowships, and it's a way to engage members that might not be engaged. So I'm trying to just think of practical ways. But I like the idea Darren mentioned of maybe having a TED Talk like thing with your own members, being the speakers and learning about each other when you can't be near each other. That is also a cool idea. I don't know if that was helpful, but it's a hard question that we're all trying to figure out, honestly.
Thank you so much. I think I got some ideas. Rotary Fellowship, we're gonna look into that. Trivia night, we had one at our physical meeting last night. It was pretty engaging. And international service. Did I say last night?
Yes.
Too many Zooms. I'm sorry.
By the way, as we're on that topic, Rotary is also having a trivia games night tomorrow night. They're having an in-person meeting at the Prevost Cinema, their usual meeting place. I believe they're having it in a larger room. So they're having that tomorrow evening. So if any Rotarians want to attend that, they're free to do so.
Fantastic. We should, right? So I think it's a good response. I think you did the best you could. Thank you. Any more Rotarians have any questions or comments for our guest speaker, Jeris?
By the way, just to mention, I noticed that at least 2 Rotaractors joined the call.
Okay. Do they have any questions for her? She's very big on Rotaract, just to say the least. Any questions or comments for Jeris? None. If there are no more, Jeris, Gaston, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this evening. We really appreciate your time. I think the information I sat here and I took a lot of notes, so I think the information you gave us was very timely. It was very packed but concise, and we appreciate that. I think the Rotary Club of Dominica can benefit from that. We have some Rotaractors on the call. I hope they took some notes as well, so that we can help to grow our leadership. Particular things that stood out for me in your presentation is growing our leadership. And you said something that I really like. Rotary it's not just people of action, but we develop people of action. And I like that. I think that resonates with me because I'm big on leadership as well. I'm actually studying leadership now, not just because I'm president. It's something I've been doing for some time, because I think the success of not just our families or our clubs or Rotary Club, but our countries, it's going to rest heavily on belief and leadership, and the fact that we can actually collectively make a difference in our world. Thank you so much, Jeris, for your presentation this afternoon. Absolutely valuable. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
It was wonderful.